Hi, welcome to Parents Gap Year, the podcast that celebrates
living to travel and travelling to live.
I'm Anne-Marie McCormack, filmmaker and radio presenter.
And I'm Rod Gray, videographer and photographer.
We're married.
To each other.
And as our children are young adults who've almost fled the nest, this year we're travelling around the world ourselves.
Lots of people say they'd like to do this, so we're having a go at showing you how it can be done, with some top tips along the way.
So this is our warts and all travel experience where we reveal our highs and lows, what we learn about each other.
And more importantly, the great characters that we meet along the way.
Have you found it interesting being married to an Irish wife as opposed to a Japanese one?
I have to pay attention on my answer, right? Yes.
Japan seems to be on everyone's bucket list, so we've made this the last leg of our trip.
We're wowed by the digital arts in Tokyo. And everything changes colour all the time as you move around. It's quite disorientating. We've just been in another room full of holograms and smoke. And we luxuriate in our kimonos at a traditional hot springs hotel, while Anne-Marie grapples with the high-tech toilets.
Oh, God. Oh, I have to turn this off.
Well, we've had a busy day so far, just getting here. Getting into Manila Airport, that's a trial in itself. We have left the hotel at 7:30 in the morning. Electric trike, ferry, motorbike, tricycle, tuk-tuk, and a plane.
To Manila Airport.
And then a airport bus to change terminals. Calling our numbers.
Woohoo.
Tokyo, to the land of the organised and the well-run.
Wow, leaving Southeast Asia, we've lots to talk about. We have to get on the plane.
We've landed in Japan. Wait.
We're on a train.
Very swish train. Not sure it's a bullet train, but I think we'll get on one of those when we go between the cities. But it's a very swish, fast-moving train. And we'll obviously update the listener on how that goes.
We've established we have at least one.
Hi, Mum.
Mum. Maybe two.
So, I'm having a bath in a budget hotel in Tokyo. And the bath is not even big enough for me, and I am pint size. I'm 5'0". Okay, so this is a child size bath. But nonetheless, having a bath is a luxury, given we won't be able to access any pools or anything like that in Tokyo, because they apparently only open in the summertime, and we're not officially in Japanese summertime in May yet, given we were travelling from 7 till about midnight last night, and we were utterly exhausted when we got here. We raided the 7-Eleven next door in order to eat, and Rod, unfortunately, has had this infected toe, which he got diving the other day. Now, had he known that it was going to get worse, our last day in Philippines would have been the ideal time to get it seen to, because we were in a chemist. He could have got some medication for it. We also clocked up 10,000 steps of walking through airports, getting from A to B. His toe, by the time we got in the room last night, was really looking very nasty, and he had a very bad night's sleep because of the toe, and I had a very bad night's sleep because I was coughing all night, and we both kept each other awake. So Rod discovered that the only medical centre that's available that is English speaking is about 15 minutes drive away, and he's just taken a taxi there. So I'm having my bath before I vacate the room, and honest to goodness, it is very nice, very relaxing. While we were in the sanctuary, it was Christmas Day, and Rod gave his little address, his king's speech on his throne. Well, you cannot come to Japan without noticing the first thing that's complicated. I had a nightmare in the airport loo trying to figure out how do I actually flush the toilet, because on every toilet there's a panel of different buttons. There's an on-off, but you don't know what that refers to. There are about 5 or 6 different settings. And I was going, oh my God, how do I just flush the toilet? I think actually the airport ones just flushed automatically. So I'm looking at this toilet now, and it's got a kids button. Everything instruction-wise obviously is in Japanese, so I don't understand anything else apart from kids. And there's another one which looks like it's a picture of a woman. Okay, so there's a female setting. I'm going to just sit on the loo. I just want to see what the female setting does. And actually, when you sit on this toilet, somehow we must have activated the heated seat, which is great. Now, I am about to press the red female button and to see what happens. You can hear some water going. Nothing doing. Oh God! Oh, I have to turn this off. Okay, all I can describe it as is a little jet. A very soothing jet. But my God, does it just hit you? Now it's calmed down, but the first little squirt of the jet is a very surprising, oddly angled jet. So by the time I leave this room, having had a bath and having had a female jet, I am doing some great scatological cleansing in this room. So let's say I probably won't need a bath for a week after this. I'm not going to try the other settings because I'm kind of scared of what they're going to do to me. Oh, it's just stopped. Wow. Oh, now it's doing something else. What was that? You see, the toilet is now talking to me and I really don't know what it's doing, but I assume that's a sort of little automatic flush. So after my little lady bits douche, you could say, I'm now pressing another button, and this one shows, I think bum cheeks is a fair way of describing it. And I'm going to press that button and see what happens. All right. Ooh, oh! Right, that's another jet. Directional. Apparently you can put it in different directions. Oh, what happens if I do that? Oh, that's lowered it down. That's not so fierce. Oh, that's very directional. I guess up another direction. Oh my God! Right, and turn another button. That's okay. Nothing major. Oh, and now I've put the pressure up. Oh, that feels quite nice. It's quite warm. Okie dokie. And now, so I'm obviously very, very well scrubbed, and I'm going to put on what looks like a hairdryer. Well, it's not really. It's like waves of air. So let's see what happens when I do that. Nothing. Nothing happening really yet. I'll press it again. Oh, there we go. Well, that's like a widely spread hairdryer on my backside, basically. That feels quite nice. To be honest, I feel like I've just been through a car wash. So I think I need to have a lie down after all this. Anyway, everybody talks about the toilets in Japan, and they are an experience, so there you have it. This is my address from the throne with the female button. Girls, ladies, whoever you are, you must try it.
Wow, we're in a digital art gallery. Very high tech here in Tokyo in Japan. And we're in a big gallery space and it's surrounded by projectors on the floor and on the walls, and it's sort of interactive. You can touch it and it changes, and it's immense. We're in a big space and there's music that runs with it as well. And at the moment we've got flowers appearing on the walls all around us, which are petals are scattering, and the floors come to life. Oh wow, the floors come to life. The artwork sort of blends from one room into another, and you can just wander from space to space. And if you touch the walls, it changes. It's really quite surreal. It's called Borderless. It's by a company called Team Lab, and it's in the Mori building in Tokyo.
Going in the bubble room.
It's full of mirrors, bubbly lights that change colour, a bit of ambient music, and everything changes colour all the time as you move around. It's quite disorientating. We've just been in another room full of like holograms and smoke.
It's so weird because the floor is a series of tiles that are mirrors. So you feel like you're looking down into these amazing bubbles of light. It's fantastic.
It's all quite sensory overload, isn't it? What we've just been through there was perspective and slope and light and music and soundtrack, and everything was in motion. Oh, quite disorientating. This is real, living, imaginative art to me.
Yeah.
This digital art form is amazing. It's physical as well as visual, as well as sensory and audio. It's this guy's just fallen over down there into the glass, which is a mirror.
Yeah.
It is disorientating. That one particularly was disorientating. It was all playing with perspective.
Yeah, it does.
And the bubble room was
feel,
so full of mirrors that I lost you for a while. Didn't know where to go.
It does make you feel a little bit dizzy. If you're a motion sickness person like me, you actually really do feel a bit weird. That man nearly went through the window.
He's broken a bit. He's broke a bit. I broke one of the flower heads.
I mean, these are like spinning discs. So as you walk by, you naturally move some of the discs. And they move with your movement. It's amazing.
So this one you can touch. It's wild.
This
is wild. I love it. I love this sort of stuff. This Mona Gallery in Tasmania was also wild. It was more physical art. This is digital and interactive.
It's phenomenal.
And because we're in the digital era, there's an app that goes with it. It's the same as Mona Gallery in Tasmania. And so there's no written information. You go on your app and it knows where you are in the art gallery, and it gives you... Oh, here comes the thunder.
Exactly. So the sound has just changed. So we're on the coast now, having got 2 trains here from Tokyo.
Tokyo's not hugely relaxing, just getting anywhere. The underground and the overground, it was all busy, not hugely crowded, and it all works really well, but it's just still, you spend an hour travelling somewhere and changing trains and walking up and down platforms.
And navigating your way out of the station to try and make sure you're on the right side.
And
it's actually easy. It's written in Japanese, but it's also in English.
And the announcements are in English and Japanese, and all the signs, as I say, inside the train. It's not a huge cost. I mean, getting around was costing us a couple of pounds a day each to use the underground, overground.
That's another top tip. If you're on a budget, you can take the normal public trains. We've been taking public trains everywhere.
What they call the commuter trains.
Yeah, and even if they're a 2-hour drive or 2.5 hours, you probably save yourself a half an hour on the fast train, or maybe an hour, but it's double the price, pretty much.
Yeah, half price on a commuter train.
Yeah, and they're very comfortable.
Yeah, they'll work.
Very clean.
Yeah.
We are going to use the bullet train to get to Kyoto from here, and we're going to use it to get to Kyoto to the airport. Yeah, this was the day before yesterday, and my God, we were suffering with hangovers. And I was
More
still
of it.
recovering from my cold. So we have our lovely friends, my old school friend Helen and her husband Hiro,
Hiro.
took us to dinner.
It was quite a dinner, wasn't it?
An amazing dinner.
Hiro ordered practically everything off the menu. Everything Japanesey and non-meaty.
We had no say in this, let it be
Not
said.
at all. Or the wine.
Or Helen, for that matter.
No.
His Irish
No,
wife.
He said, I'm Japanese, I'll do all this.
Yeah, it was a banquet. Amazing food, amazing wine, and amazing sake.
Try and describe some of the food, because obviously people are interested in the food, aren't they? The listener likes to know about food. So Japanese food, as you know, is kind of, sushi it's known for. But we had more than that. It was sort of raw fish, raw prawns, tofu type thing, wasn't it? Green salads, which are all sort of full of flavour, different beans. We had some sort of barbecued kind of beans on a stick. They were quite nutty, bigger than a peanut sort of thing. Anyway, they were tasty.
So after our little sojourn in this restaurant, which does attract a lot of tourists, and it did play some very 80s rock tunes, which were rather loud.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of Bon Jovi in there and
Yeah,
stuff.
there was, definitely. And
It was a little bit incongruous, wasn't it?
apparently a scene from Kill Bill was shot there, so they've been riding on that ever since. But it was a really nice, decoratively done restaurant. It was cool.
And you take
And
your shoes
You
off.
have to take your shoes off and low tables and sit down on very nice cushions and all that kind of stuff. So then we were whisked off, again, without any say, in the nicest possible way.
Because it was quite loud in there. I think we wanted to go somewhere we could talk a bit more.
And quiet.
And so we left, and Hiro escorted us straight into a taxi that was waiting there already for us. And then we went off to a sake bar.
Which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And
Which
again,
was
very traditional.
exquisite. People in traditional
Kimonos.
kimono type clothing to serve you. And we had hot and cold sake.
And I would say far too much of it. Helen and I were both putting our hands over the glasses going, no more, we can't. Poor Helen was working the next day. Thank you, Helen.
And
you are a
you
star.
don't drink that much, so...
Oh, my goodness.
So me and Hiro had the lion's share of it.
Yeah, Rod was ebullient from the get-go. Once you saw that Hiro was taking over, you were going, yay, this is brilliant. Someone else taking control of everything. I'm going to just relax, present me with what you like, stuff me full of food and alcohol, and I'll be very happy. And you were.
You did read that right, yes.
I absolutely
I
did.
did give myself over willingly.
You did. And then the next day we suffered.
Yeah, I mean, sake's quite pure, I think, so it wasn't a horrible hangover, but I just drank more than I would.
Or should, or could.
But it was just so beautifully presented, wasn't it? The sake was in these little chilled metal cups, gold on the outside, silver on the inside, and they fill them utterly to the brim.
Yes.
And it's pure, clear liquid sake, so it looks like it's empty, but it's totally full. And then they had a little silver jug that they poured it into, and it was designed that it then poured out of the jug into your cup without having to move the jug.
Exactly. Now, there's something about the way people eat, and there's something the way people bathe, and all the hotels seem to have baths or hot springs, if you're lucky. So the one we're in is a very traditional ryokan, and it is like stepping into a set from a film in the traditional way that you would see a Japanese hotel.
So we've got the matting on the floor and the futons, low-down beds, and the rice paper window frame sliding windows. And we have been given kimono-type dressing gown, robes. They're cotton rather than silk. They've got a different name, yukats. And so like a kimono, and you're encouraged to wear that all around the hotel all the time with their somewhat uncomfortable sandals.
Slider slippers,
which I'm not using. I'm using my own.
So not only is our hotel a ryokan, it is also an onsen, which means it has its own hot springs in the basement.
Yeah.
You have to go naked.
Totally naked.
And that's the rule. It's biological sex divided. So if you are female, you go in the female section. If you're male, you go in the male section. And they alternate. There are 2 different hot springs. So each day They change from one sex to the other. So you get to sample both. Now, obviously, if you're gender fluid, that might be very complicated. And if you have tattoos, you're not allowed.
Yeah.
Because you have to be fully naked. And so, therefore, it raises complications, definitely. So just as a warning for any listeners who may have lots of tattoos or may be gender fluid, it might not work.
No,
so
it's a
easily
traditional thing, and these
Japan.
things are stuck in traditions. So you have your little towel to put on your head to keep your head cool, if you like, or to protect your modesty walking from place to place.
It is very, very hot. I mean, one of the temperatures of the jacuzzi I was in last night was 42.9 degrees. The big one was 39.5 degrees, which was very pleasant. I have to say, as soon as I entered that hotel, I felt like, oh my goodness, I can now stop, I can relax.
It was still on the go a bit, even in Tokyo.
Yeah, we arrived and we discovered that breakfast was going to be at 7 o'clock in the morning. And Rod was going, 7 until when? And he's going 7. And he's using Google Translate because not all of the Japanese people in receptions speak English. But we were going 7 o'clock until when? He's going, no, 7 o'clock is the time for breakfast. And we're going, really? And he said, on the next 2 days, it'll be 8 o'clock. And we're going, 8 o'clock? We thought 9 o'clock in Tokyo was too early. We've been having our breakfast from 10 to half 10 sort of time on average. I think we protested so much at the reception desk about the fact that 7 o'clock was our breakfast time that he very kindly moved it to 8 o'clock to be consistent across our 3-day stay. We went down promptly at 8 o'clock.
In our robes.
In our kimonos. And our little flip-flops. And we were blown away. We sat down.
Was quite an event.
We sat down. We were served with these rattan trays with the lids on. And then you lift up the lid and it had an array of different dishes in. And we also had burners each with pots on top with boiling water. So we were told how you put one thing in. You had a vegetable and fish.
Raw fish,
Followed by...
That went in the hot pot.
In the hot pot. You eat that. Then after you consume that, you put the miso from a little pot into the hot pot water, which obviously has retained all the vitamins and minerals from your lovely vegetables, which were exquisite, like mushrooms and green bean type shavings and
bits of seaweed and raw fish. So it flavours the water, and then you add your
soy-based miso paste
into it.
And the nicest thing was a dessert. You can describe.
I was going to say there was a salad in there as well.
Oh yeah, there was a salad.
And some strange custard.
Yes, which wasn't sweet.
Then to finish off, there's like a natural yogurt with an amazing zingy, some mandarin sort of topping to it. That was beautiful.
Yeah. So that was like a yogurt with a fruit compote on the top, and even the salad had petals on it, little flower petals. So it looked beautiful, and everything was obviously edible. And you got your coffee, and we had green tea.
Green tea, pear juice.
Oh, pear juice.
Yeah.
And water. So it took us an hour to get through it.
It did take an hour. Yeah.
It's a live
you have to cook some of it.
Experience. Little did I know what we were in for.
I wonder if it'll be the same tomorrow, or whether the recipe changes.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll do a little video of this for the listener to see, because I think
it is very picturesque.
You have to see it to believe it.
Yeah,
and we'll post that
beautiful.
on Instagram for you so you can see the ritual of our breakfast. This couldn't have been a better way of doing it, ending up in the serenity of Japan.
Yeah, almost like it's planned.
Almost like it's planned. Thank you, husband.
Lots of people did say we must go to Japan, so here we are.
Yeah, and although I resist the formality and the rules, I also think it's like anything. If you're booking with a low-budget airline and you stick to the rules, things work bloody good. So I don't mind sticking to the rules while I'm here and just enjoying the peace.
And naked bathing.
We are in Atani Station, which is one of those intersectional train stations on our way to Kyoto. And here's a bullet train. My goodness, the speed is breathtaking. They're called Shinkansen. First time I've seen it, my jaw just dropped.
まもなく6番線を電車が通過します。
Hello, you two. Please introduce yourselves. Who are you?
I'm Helen Butler. I'm Irish, living in Japan for more than 30 years, and I'm married to a Japanese.
My name is Hiro, Hiraiwa. Yes.
You two have been together since 1997, or you've been married since 1997.
Right. I was 30 years. Yeah. So I met with her. It's a lovely vibe, and it's very nice. Yes.
Okay, I'm topping up his wine here.
You met your lovely wife. You've done so well so far, Hiro.
Other ones.
Well, we have to confess that, Helen, we know each other since we were probably 11 because we went to school together. And yeah, we lost touch for many, many, many years, didn't we?
Yeah, yes, lost touch for, the best part of 40 years. Oh no, I've given away my age. Our age.
Well, they already know my age, unfortunately. It's all over this podcast. But Helen, you're younger than me, that's all I'll say. So you have the joy of not even hitting 59 yet. But it's all ahead of you, love.
Now you've given it away.
Yeah. I think you might have mentioned it now and again.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
So we have moved away from Tokyo now, and we were very led astray by a certain couple when we were there. I wonder who they were.
I don't know what to say about this. It's terrible, the people you come across in your travels.
You've got to be careful of who you bump into.
You should take more care, honestly.
You definitely led us down a very unspeakable path of alcohol and raw fish consumption, I would say.
Washed down with sake.
That's right. And now we have a bit of a taste for it, I will confess.
I've just bought some today, and we were drinking it last night.
Yeah, we love it.
So, I mean, the night we spent with you two was fantastic and super hospitable you were to us, Hiro. Is this a sort of a thing in Japan that the Japanese are generous to a fault?
Yes.
He's wary of what's going to come next.
I know. It's not a loaded question.
No.
I'm just curious that it's very Japanese. We've experienced great hospitality even from strangers here in Japan.
I'm really quite so happy to welcome also some of my wife's and friends, and I'm quite happy.
Oh.
You're lovely.
Yeah, my lovely wife's friends. Yes.
Well, I haven't met those yet.
That means lovely friends. Yes.
Well, we were blown away by your hospitality, and also what was quite amusing, and it has happened to us with people we didn't know. Suddenly, food arrives, and we have had no discussion about the food. It is ordered. So
You have no idea what you were eating.
Right.
Exactly. But anyway, we had a fantastic night. So Helen, you are similar to me in the sense that you've moved country a long time ago and you are married to someone from a totally different culture to you. even more so, like Rod, people will laugh when they hear that I'm saying Rod is a totally different culture. Well, him being English, at least we share a language. So you, as an Irish person going to Japan, before you even met Hiro, how was that?
It was, it was very strange. I didn't have the language, and back then, foreign people were not so typical, even in the big cities. So you were looked on as something very different. It wasn't a very international place at all. And you would be treated sometimes as a kind of a strange thing.
And after all these years, do you still feel like a strange thing, as you put it?
Well, I've come to terms with it. Yeah.
So you joined the workforce, and is it very different from the Irish workforce, would you say, in how they operate?
When I started, women weren't typically encouraged to have careers, and they weren't expected really to stay in a company after the age of 30 or if not earlier.
Really?
And also, like I wanted to have a career and to be considered in the same light as men, but there weren't very many women who were given executive positions. So eventually I ended up in a non-Japanese company because I thought I would have more opportunities there.
Right. And have things changed, do you think, in general, about how women are treated in the workforce now?
Perhaps they have changed somewhat, but there is still difficulty for women in terms of getting childcare and so on, and continue to work after they have children. So, there are still a lot of challenges.
Yeah. And you opted for a career, and you don't have children, so you didn't have that difficulty along the way, or did you have any other difficulties?
There is a difficulty for a lot of people in terms of the long hours working culture, which is hard on you whether or not you have children. And if you do have children, it's harder still. There's little allowance for it, for parenting along with working in a company. So that is very stressful, and there's still an awful lot that needs to be done in Japan to improve that.
So that's for both men and women, from what you say, really. Yeah. Let's just talk about holidays. What is the average holiday you're given?
I have enough holidays, but being able to take them all is another issue. It's not unusual to lose some of the days that you have because you're not able to take them. There's too much work to do. And I know people who work during their holidays. I've done that too. That happens quite a bit.
So if you chose to take your holiday and not work overtime, do you think you'd be frowned upon within the workplace for doing that?
Nothing is said where I work, but you have to get the work done. And you won't be able to if you work without doing overtime.
So is there a lot of burnout, would you say?
There's a lot of burnout, but for a lot of people, where do you go? If that may be one reason why not as many women return to work after having children. They're at home supporting the breadwinner's effort.
When you do get time off, the rare times you do get time off, what's the sort of thing that you do? I think you've come to Kyoto recently.
Yeah. Yes, I really like Kyoto.
And what sort of things do you get up to when you come here?
I enjoy going to the gardens a lot. There aren't that many gardens to visit in Tokyo, but Kyoto has lots and lots of them, and they tend to be less crowded with tourists. So I go there, and I enjoy the food culture as well. There's a lot of very good restaurants in Kyoto, so that's part of my break when I go there.
Yeah, we've been enjoying the food here. I found the huge food market today. That's not. It's 10 minutes maybe from where we're staying.
Is that Teramachi?
Yes. Yeah.
Nishiki. Nishiki is beside
Yes.
Teramachi. So
Yes.
that's an interesting market to walk through, but it does tend to be quite crowded with tourists as well.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday we went into Gion location.
Gion has a lot of the machiya, which is the old Japanese wooden houses,
Yes.
and that's also where you'll find some of the geisha quarters.
That's right. Yes, we've seen some of them, and the odd geisha tottering on their wooden flip flops from here to there, mainly getting into a taxi and being whizzed off. But we found ourselves in a little sort of corner restaurant last night, where we sort of queued for a little bit outside and then got in, and it was great. We had with a kitchen. You know, you're right in there in the kitchen with almost with them.
We really love these restaurants because you're so part of the environment and you're watching the cooking going on, and it's an art in itself, how they cook. So, Hiro, I just want to ask you about the cultural differences. When you met Helen and over the years, have you found it interesting being married to an Irish wife as opposed to a Japanese one?
Yeah, well, so listen, I have to pay attention on my answer, right?
Yes, yes, you do.
Yes.
Because your lovely wife is here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is quite a, not big challenge, but it's a totally different culture. Well,
People don't drink.
oh, really?
No, they don't. They don't.
Oh, Japanese women don't drink. Is that right?
Well, it's at the time it's maybe I don't know. It's nice wine and some beers and something. Yeah, but
So the attraction was immediate.
But anyway, very sort of kind and also sort of have some capacity sort of to accept really my lack of sort of English. But maybe it's my wife is Helen is more bigger capacity. How can I say? It's sort of offer to allow the person.
I think he was saying he was able to be more himself.
I think you've reached his capacity. Or mine.
I haven't burned out.
You haven't burned out yet. She hasn't destroyed your whole energy, your everything. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, I think you've said enough, dear.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say, you felt you could be yourself, because I think when it works, you can be yourself with someone, regardless of whether they are from a different culture or not. But what were the most challenging things? Was it around language and understanding each other?
For me,
Yeah.
it's I just only have some experience to work in foreign companies, so that it is not unusual to see the non-Japanese persons. The Japanese culture is we have to be silent, and we have to follow to my boss. So young generations has become different. It's a more unique idea and we were thinking. I wanted to keep the Japanese beautiful cultures has to be deep in our mind.
Okay. Japan in a nutshell.
For you, Helen, what were the most challenging things?
It did take a long time, and yes, the language kind of really slowed that down. I think if you are going to spend time here, it really changes how you see Japan, or probably anywhere that you live, if you have the language or not.
Absolutely. How do you think you differ from a typical Japanese wife, or do you know?
I'd probably need to make a long list for that.
Need another episode for that.
I should remind you that I'm his lovely wife.
Yeah.
You are definitely his lovely wife.
Bears kind of repeating.
Just so that Hiro kind of takes it in again.
Yeah, that's it.
Having lived in Ireland, obviously, previously, and now living in Japan, what's the advantages for you living in Japan over Ireland or Europe?
Everything works. When you want to get a certain place, you'll probably get there on time on reliable transport. It's a very safe place to be. I was walking home last night from after meeting some friends, and I sat in a park near to home, and I wasn't worried about being bothered by anybody around there. Other infrastructure like healthcare and so on, it's fairly reliable. So the things that should be there but aren't always there in other cultures, they work well here.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, my impression of the Japanese people are very hospitable, very friendly, very polite, and will go out of their way to help you. But also, I get a very strong sense of conservatism. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah. Yes, it's not a place that encourages flexibility. Yeah, people are anxious to follow the rules and for you to follow them as well.
So is there anything else you'd like to add or Hiro would like to add?
Anything you want to say about your lovely wife?
Yes, my lovely wife. Yes, after retirement, maybe we have to think about continue to live in Japan. There is an international marriage is certainly flexible to think about it.
Flexible.
Flexible means, flexible.
As in you might leave Japan and go and live elsewhere? Is that what you mean, Hiro?
Yeah, so my wife said it's the time to spend. So that's, it's my next challenge.
Mm.
So in other words, less work, more play and more travel.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's work, yes.
This is exactly what we're doing right now.
With my wife, yes.
With your lovely wife. Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to change things.
It is, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
So we're all at a similar stage of life, having been on this big, long journey so far with each other's lovely husbands and lovely wives. Well, thank you so much, you two, for this. This has been amazing to talk to you.
And it's been amazing to meet you as well.
We've had the best night out with you guys, definitely. And our heads proved it the next morning, without a doubt. And you managed to go to work, Helen. I'm very impressed.
Yes. And you come back and bite me.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
We're in the Nijo Castle, which is in Kyoto. It's like it was like a fortress castle, and to stop people sneaking up on the shogun who lived here, they made the floorboards squeaky on purpose, which I'm enjoying, squeaking the floorboards. There's lots of people around us making the floorboards squeak as well as they walk along. So we're in an amazing palace. Huge murals on the walls, painted on kind of silks and paper, and patterns on the ceiling, and rice paper walls with beautiful carved wooden reliefs in them, and the soft light that comes through these paper walls, rice paper walls, is beautiful. And there's lots of gold and sort of metal gold fastenings holding up great big wooden beams and pillars. It's a very impressive building. It's quite hot outside today, but it's cool in here.
Yeah. Lots of tigers, paintings of tigers as well,
lots
which
of paintings
showed
of tigers.
how impressively fierce they were, the shoguns, and powerful.
However, there were no tigers in Japan.
Exactly.
So
They were in China and Korea. So they copied pictures,
They
and
copied
they even
pictures,
had leopards suckling on the mummy tiger because they thought they came from the same species.
Yeah.
There you go, way back
Okay,
then.
way back then.
So you can't really come to Japan without going to a traditional tea house.
Yeah, so we are in the traditional tea house in the gardens of the palace and the castle, and we're drinking iced coffee.
Iced coffee, not tea.
No more green tea.
Yeah, we've had enough of green tea. We had that for 3 breakfasts in a row.
We've got plenty more Japanesey things to do. We've got the whole ninja museum yet to go, Anne-Marie, which I know you're looking forward to.
And the geisha performance, which I know you're looking forward to.
I think that involves more tea, doesn't it?
If you're bringing me to the samurai museum, I am bringing you to the geisha girls who are going to do a performance for your benefit. Yeah? Is that a deal? Or we both go on the same night to our respective things and report back. Depending.
Might be a better option.
Rosie, we met you on a boat trip going around some islands in Lombok. We'd been travelling with our son Sam. Tell us a little bit about your travel experience and how you were hooking up to travel with your daughter along the way.
I had been at university. I've been studying for about 6 years and travelled all my life. And I've often travelled either with the children or alone or with my ex as well. I decided that I was going to go on this big travel once I'd finished in September. So I headed off. And sort of coincidentally, my daughter had finished university in the same year. And she was off travelling. My son had been away since May. So we had decided that we would meet at different places along the way. Jeannie and my son and I met up in Vietnam for 10 days. And then my son and I went on to New Zealand. My kids are half Kiwis, so we have lots of family over there. And my son stayed there when I left, and he went off travelling with his girlfriend.
Wow. And the interesting thing is we had just come from New Zealand and gone to Indonesia. So in a way, we're all kind of going in opposite directions, but somehow this is what happens when you're traveling. You meet in the middle, don't you? You never know. Our kids might meet when they're in Australia, which is lovely. And this is the great thing about traveling. Just somehow connect with people and go, well, let's share our details like we did. I've no doubt we will be meeting again, as you live in Wales and we live in Bristol.
I'm definitely coming to your birthday.
You are coming to my 60th. You're rocking up in your camper van. I mean, I love that. How long were you away in total?
I left in September, so I was away for about 7 months.
And have you been travelling solo most of the time?
Sometimes solo, sometimes with friends, but mostly solo, yeah. You know, it's a very big advantage to feel that you can do that because like a lot of people wait in their life. They want to do things, but they wait for somebody to do something with. And I just sort of feel that's really limiting. And if you can just have the thing where you know that at any time, if you want to do something, you can just do it, it's very liberating. I got separated from my partner of 18 years and my dog died and my children left home. And I was like, oh, here I am again, footloose and fancy free. So
you're a similar age to me, I would say. I'm not going to ask you exactly, but are you in your...
Yeah, well, I wouldn't tell you because then I'd have to kill you.
Yeah. You can kill me.
A well-kept secret. But yeah, I'm in my 50s.
Yeah.
So.
But, you know, you're one of the few people we've met along the way who are solo travelling as a female.
You know, generally, I stay in backpackers and things like that. So a lot of the time, you know, there's a lot of the young team around and a lot of young women travel on their own. It's much more common now than it was. I think you have to know and realise that you are vulnerable in certain situations and avoid those situations. But generally, I think, you know, it's especially travelling in the Asian countries, I think it's quite safe. Well, sometimes I feel like you get put upon more by people, you know, like when you're travelling, people are trying to earn a bit of money off you by carrying your bag or something like that. And I think if you're a woman, you know, you have to be a bit more forceful in saying no. I haven't had really many problems, touch wood. And my daughter's travelling on her own. So every time she goes to a hostel, that, you know, they sort of become a group. and they'll travel for a while together in a country, and there'll be like 12 of them all traveling together or something. You know, obviously there's less older people, so probably I'm a bit more of a lone person than my daughter. The experience is different, you know.
Yeah.
Inevitably, if somebody else is a solo traveller, then they're really keen to come and do something. But I haven't found that I've become part of a big group.
So you were telling me on that beach that particular day that you used to run your own business, is that right?
Yeah, so I had a little business that I ran all the time the kids were growing up. Because I was self-employed, we still travelled. Since the kids were little, we cancelled Christmas every other year. So one year we had Christmas, and the next year we went travelling. And we just did not do anything for Christmas. We ignored Christmas. And we would go, usually spend the same amount of money to go away. And we would go always to a Muslim country. They started off not liking it and wanting to do Christmas. But then after a few years, they actually preferred going away. And that's where they've both got their travel bugs from, because they're both now, you know, off.
Our kids love travelling with us, so we're lucky in that sense. And like your two, they do travel the world now. So we create the travellers that our kids have become in a way. So you had a major life event. Tell us that story where you had a heart attack.
I had a heart attack 7 years ago now, probably, and it was completely out of the blue. I haven't got high cholesterol and I haven't got high blood pressure. It was like a rupture of an artery. It came out of nowhere, really. But what it did do was it made me realise my own mortality. But people sort of put things off and they assume that we have endless time. But what you don't realise is you don't know what's around the next corner. And so sometimes you have to prioritise things you want to do yourself, and places you want to go. And, you know, I just think that it was a blessing in a way. It was a horrible thing to happen, but it has blessed me with a perspective that, you know, I sort of are very appreciative of a lot of things that I didn't really notice maybe before.
So you have just arrived back. How does it feel to be back in England now?
For me, it's bloody freezing. It feels a bit like I haven't been away. It's like, I mean, it doesn't insofar as every time you go off travelling, it changes you in a way. And I feel like I've come back calmer, and, you know, I've got things I want to do here now that I've thought about while I'm away and stuff like that. But at the same time, you just slot back in, and I've just came back, mowed the lawn, sorting out the garden, you know, all the jobs that need doing. Sort of jump off the treadmill for 7 months, and then you get back on, there's a big pile up of stuff that needs sorting out. So,
don't tell me that.
Yeah, all good. One nice thing is sleeping in your own bed. That has been just so nice.
Well, look, Rosie, we are definitely going to meet again.
If everything goes according to plan, I'll come and find you guys in my van.
Fantastic. And you will have parking. It's the 1st of June, so that is when it's happening. The great thing about this particular date is a niece is getting married on the 3rd of June, which happens to be Rod and our anniversary. But I have a big family of sisters and a brother, and they're all coming over for the wedding. So I made them all come over a day early so that they could have a party in our house. So that's what's happening.
You'll all be bloody ruined for the wedding.
Look forward to seeing you at that point.
Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your time, and I hope you really enjoy it as much as I did.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and it's been amazing to meet you.
Yeah, likewise.
Rod,
One last time.
can you hear that?
It stopped.
That's the sound of our hearts sinking.
I thought it was the automatic toilet that was finishing.
I set that up. Oh, so this is the last supper we have just had, which is breakfast in our room.
I've just used the automatic toilet for the last time. I'm going to have to wipe my own bum after this.
Oh, so there's a feeling of
Oh my God, we woke up this morning going, this is actually it. It's the last hotel room, our last supper last night.
Of Nepalese curry. When in Japan.
Yeah, we're just trying to get ourselves back in the mode.
Washed down with Nepalese beer.
Yeah. You have said in the past, we know each other inside out. So 6 months down the line of being with each other, pretty much 24/7, have you learned anything new about me?
I'm glad you just threw that one in.
Needless to say, I don't prepare him for any questions.
Yeah.
Or myself,
and my
for that matter.
fast-moving brain. Have I learned stuff about you? Yeah, you're very easy to live with.
Oh, that'll really endear you to the listener.
I know, but I knew that already, so it doesn't really answer the
You're
question.
just scrunching up your face, so you're just lying.
I'm not. I'm buying time for my pea-sized brain to think of a good answer.
I can add what I have learnt about you.
Here we go.
I've always known you're organised. I would never have called you a controlling person, because you're not. But when it comes to travel, I think there's an element of that has crept in, as in...
Yeah, you need some control when you travel. You can't just...
Yeah. It started with you putting me on Find My Wife on the app.
Which I've barely needed.
Exactly. And so that was the start of it. So you knew where to locate me everywhere I went, because, as you know, and the listener knows, absolutely can't find my way out of a paper bag. So thankfully you are very organised and you are brilliant at organising travel, but there is a tad of a control freak element attached to that. And I'm not saying I'm complaining, but another female of the species may find that quite annoying.
Oh, okay, so note for future wife.
Yes, but we've all decided what nationality she needs to be. And I'm not going to say it here. Okay, so what have you learned about me?
Well, you have adapted brilliantly to the extreme elements of travel, boats and tuk-tuks and things like that. You started off, you were in sheer terror of most of those. And by the end of it, you were just hopping on and off like a local.
So we are now launching into 30 hours of travel, which involves a high-speed train and a bus or another train to the airport in Tokyo.
Last stop, transit in Shanghai.
Yeah. And then we've got a 13-hour flight. And then we are going to our gorgeous neighbour Peggy's funeral. So it'll be sad. And our cat will bring home to us that she's not there to greet us when we get home.
Empty house, no cat.
Yeah. Any last words before we sign off?
Bon voyage.
To us both.
Thanks, Mum. Yes, we'll joke about this later, but, we've already got 30 hours of travel and a fair amount out on an old Chinese plane flying across Russia. What could go wrong? So I've just driven a massive rental van up to Liverpool to come and collect our lost and abandoned son, who's been up in Liverpool Uni for the last 3 years. And we're going to extricate him from Liverpool and bring him back to Bristol.
Just to be fair, we haven't left him in Liverpool for 3 years without seeing him.
No.
To clarify.
Yeah, but it's been 7 months since we've seen him.
Exactly. So we are actually seeing him for the first time since we left.
In the flesh.
And here he is. Ah.
Yeah.
Hello, gorgeous.
This feels very weird.
What feels weird about it?
The microphone and all of that.
Oh, hello. Don't squeeze too hard, I've hurt my back.
Sorry, of course you have.
I'm fighting fit.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, mate. Oh, lovely to see you in the flesh.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long time. It's been a long
Physically get hold of you.
How have you? Thanks. I got my hair cut the other day.
That's very, very nice.
Thank you.
It's a mullet I approve of.
Yes. Well, that's great. Yeah.
Well, we said a hello yesterday to my dearest Irish friend Carmel, who is now sitting beside me, bless her.
Cue Carmel.
Cue Carmel. You're like our support team. So today is the big 1st of June, and this is the big 60th party, homecoming party.
I think you're mad.
Irish family
party. You're back
party.
a week and you're chopping and cutting and prepping from yesterday. I now know why you said do come over early. It's been busy.
Can I just say, it is so brilliant to see so many of you here. Half of you have already left, which is amazing. We have a lot of Irish people here who've come over. They came over on the boat, didn't they? They came over on the boat. They paddled across the water, and here they are. They're amazing. So we're here for my niece's wedding, and thank you so much for coming. We've got Auntie Betty.
It's lovely to be here and to be with all the family.
My mammy. Hello, Mammy. I haven't seen you in 6 months.
Oh, it's brilliant. And do you know what makes me happiest? To see the whole lot of you together.
Always. I want to also mention my dad would have been 90 this year. My dad obviously didn't make 90, but there's been lots of 60th, 30th, 50th birthdays this year. So to all the decaders, cheers. It's so brilliant to see you. So it's the end of our travels until Parents' Gap Year Part 2. Okay? We've got the bug now. Good. We have some Izzy and Sophie. Say hello.
Yes, hello.
People in the podcast know you already. God love them. They've been on it already. Pam, where are you?
In the background.
She's also in the podcast. We've got people all over the place, friends from everywhere. Some from Bristol, some from even Wales. Would you believe it? And from Liverpool. All over. Thank you for travelling. I hope you're all having a lovely evening. Okay, so please enjoy either brownies or the lovely Cynthia cake. Thank you. And to the road less travelled. Rod, anything?
Can we turn around and get going again?
Yeah, we can.
And any of you who can catch up with us can come with us. We have a habit of taking some of you with us, so
Yeah,
we'd like to keep that going.
We absolutely would. So be merry, have fun, have cake. This podcast has been created and edited by Anne-Marie McCormack with her collaborator and co-traveller Rod Gray. Music is by Serge Quadrado and Segvari, with the sound mix by Gary McIntyre. If you'd like to see pictures and videos of the places we've been to and the people we've met, please go to the Parents' Gap Year Instagram page. And if you've enjoyed the podcast, please follow and share it. Thanks so much for listening.